The mysterious beauty of Ember Valley. Nestled between rolling hills and wrapped in a veil of mist, Ember Valley looked like a painting too perfect to be real. The sun bathed its emerald meadows in golden light, and the wind whispered through tall, ancient trees that had witnessed centuries of silence and secrets. The villagers moved with ease, their lives gentle and calm, but even here, where peace was routine, mystery had rooted itself deep. At the far edge of the valley, near the edge of the whispering trees, lived a woman unlike any other. Her name was Nia. With her radiant skin, wild curls, and an elegance that seemed untouched by time, she moved like the wind, graceful, untouchable, and fleeting. She rarely ventured into the heart of the village, but when she did, the world seemed to pause. Children stopped their games. Elders nodded in quiet reverence. Men stumbled over their words. Women watched her with quiet awe. Yet no one truly knew her. She lived alone in a vine-covered cottage. Some said she came from the mountains. Others whispered she was the last of a forgotten tribe. The only common truth was that Nia, though kind and soft-spoken, held a presence that stirred both fascination and fear. Then came Kojo. A warm-hearted traveler with curious eyes and a crooked smile, Kojo had wandered into Ember Valley months ago and found peace among its people. He had a healer's hands and a storyteller's charm, and quickly became the village herbalist. Every home had grown to depend on his teas, bombs, and laughter. But Kojo's interest had shifted the day he first laid eyes on Nia. It wasn't just her beauty, it was the silence around her, the way she seemed to exist outside of time. He began seeking her out, finding excuses to deliver herbs to her cottage or pick flowers near her path. He told her funny tales of his travels, offered her wild blooms, and even sang to her once under the stars. To the shock of the village, Nia didn't ignore him. She smiled. It was just a flicker at first, a softness in her eyes, but it grew. She began walking with him. Talking with him. Laughing, sometimes in quiet gasps that made his heart leap. Day by day, the bond deepened, and their love, slow, blooming, and unspoken, grew between them like ivy up old stone. But Nia carried a truth she dared not share. At night, when the moon climbed high and the air cooled, her body changed. Her limbs grew long and scaled, her breath hissed through fangs, and her human voice faded. A cruel, ancient curse bound her. Each night, she transformed into a serpent, a creature of myth and fear. She had lived with it for years, keeping to herself, ensuring no one ever saw. But now, love had arrived, and with it, a fragile joy that trembled under the weight of her secret. Kojo, completely unaware, proposed one misty morning in the valley's golden orchard. His eyes held hope and love, and when Nia said yes, it almost felt like freedom. But when night came, she locked the door to her cottage and whispered, "I need time alone, for sacred prayer." Kojo, respectful and trusting, didn't press her. But deep inside, Nia's heart coiled with fear. How long could she hide this part of herself? How long could she keep the one thing she loved most from seeing what she truly was? In Ember Valley, the wind carried many secrets. And Nia's secret was the kind that didn't stay hidden forever, the hiss in the night. The wind howled louder than usual in Ember Valley, as if the trees themselves were trying to speak. Kojo lay awake most nights now, his thoughts tangled. Nia had become more distant since their engagement, never unkind, but guarded. Each evening, she would gently close her door and whisper, "Tonight, I pray alone." At first, he respected it. But then came the sounds. Just after midnight, Kojo would hear soft hissing, so faint he thought he imagined it. It wasn't the hiss of wind or whisper of leaves. It had rhythm, breath, life. He tried to ignore it, convincing himself it was just the forest shifting in its sleep. But the unease clawed deeper when he noticed something stranger. Nia's skin. When they sat beneath moonlight, her skin shimmered faintly. Not like sweat or dew, but like something alive under the surface. like scales catching light for only a second. He said nothing, watching her laugh with a quiet sadness in her eyes. The closer they grew, the more she tried to pull away, as if love itself was dangerous. Then came the storm. Thunder cracked across the valley like a warning. Rain lashed the earth, wild and unforgiving. Kojo ran through the downpour to Nia's cottage, drawn by a feeling he couldn't explain, only to find her door bolted again. But this time, the hissing was louder. Something in him snapped. He kicked down the door, calling her name, heart pounding. What he saw made the world stop. Coiled in the center of the room was a massive golden serpent, its scales gleaming like fire in the candlelight. Around its thick neck hung Nia's bracelet, the one he had made for her from river stones and copper thread. He staggered backward, breath caught in his throat. The serpent froze, then slowly began to shift. Scales melted into skin. Fangs faded. The creature shrank, riding until it became Nia, trembling, naked, and sobbing. "I didn't want you to see me like this," she whispered, voice broken. Through her tears, she told him everything. As a child, she had wandered into the deep woods chasing a lost bird. Unknowingly, she had danced on sacred land belonging to an ancient forest spirit, one that protected the balance between humans and beasts. The spirit, enraged, cursed her. Every night, she would become what humans feared most, a creature of the dark. For years, I stayed away from people. I thought I could live like this. Alone. But then, you came. Kojo's heart warred with his fear. Every instinct told him to run. But he didn't move. He knelt beside her, holding her shaking hands. "You're still you," he whispered. "I see you." Just then, the air snapped cold. The candlelight trembled. And from the shadows, the forest spirit emerged. A figure cloaked in leaves, with eyes like burning coals and a voice that echoed through bone. "You were warned, serpent child. Love comes with rules." Kojo stood, shielding Nia, though he could feel the power radiating from the spirit. "She told him the truth," Kojo said. "She chose honesty." The spirit sneered. "And yet, you kissed. You promised yourself. That vow is dangerous. The curse does not forgive love so easily." "What do you mean?" Nia asked, clutching Kojo's hand. The spirit's eyes narrowed. "If you kiss him again, if love is sealed once more, he will join you. The curse will pass through blood and breath. He too will become a serpent, bound by night." The wind wailed outside. Silence thickened inside the cottage. Then the spirit faded, leaving only its words behind. Kojo looked at Nia, her eyes wide with fear and guilt. Their love was real, powerful, but now, it had a price. They could stay apart. Keep the kiss unsealed. Remain close, but untouched. Or they could risk everything, for a love strong enough to defy even ancient magic. And from that moment, the countdown began, the path through Shadowwood. The days in Ember Valley turned heavy with silence, as if the trees themselves were holding their breath. After the spirit's warning, Nia barely spoke. Her joy had faded into worry, her eyes always turned to the horizon, as if waiting for something darker to arrive. Then, one morning, she made a choice. "I have to go to Shadowwood," she told Kojo quietly as the sun broke through the mist. "The spirit lives deeper than I ever went before. There might still be a way to break the curse." Kojo stared at her, shaken. "Shadowwood. Nia, that place, no one ever comes back." "I know," she said, her voice steady. "But if I don't try, we lose everything anyway." Kojo reached for her hand. "Then I'm coming with you." "No," her voice was firm this time. "If anything happens to you, I'll never forgive myself." He opened his mouth to argue, but she touched his cheek, soft and trembling. "Let me try alone, Kojo. Just this once." And so, As dawn painted the valley gold, Nia disappeared into the fog beyond the whispering trees, toward Shadowwood, where the ground was said to hum with the voices of the dead. The forest greeted her with silence. No birdsong. No breeze. Just shadows that clung too close and branches that creaked like old bones. But Nia pressed forward, heart full of fear and fire. Her first trial came at a broken bridge over a black river. Ghostly figures hovered at its edges, laughing and whispering her name. "Turn back, snake girl," they taunted in chorus. "Your love is doomed." When she stepped onto the bridge, the planks cracked and swayed. But she didn't fall. She walked through their laughter, ignoring every cruel word. By the time she reached the other side, they vanished like fog. Deeper in the woods, a hawk with feathers of silver and eyes like polished amber landed on a crooked branch above her. "I speak only in riddles," the hawk announced with a tilt of its head. "Answer me, or walk in circles for eternity." It posed 3 riddles, one about the nature of truth, one about love, and one about sacrifice. Nia's answers weren't perfect, but they were honest. She spoke not with cleverness, but with courage. And the hawk, after a long pause, bowed its head and let her pass. But it was the dream tree that shook her most. It stood alone in a clearing, glowing faintly in the twilight. As she stepped close, it paused, and visions bloomed in her mind. Children. 2 of them. One with her eyes, one with Kojo's smile. Their legs shimmered like scaled coils, but their laughter was warm. They played in sunlight, free and fearless. Nia fell to her knees, tears slipping down her cheeks. Could it be real? Could love make space for something so strange, and still beautiful? The vision faded, leaving her stronger. But while she faced trials in the dark, trouble brewed back home. Sephew, Kojo's jealous apprentice, had noticed the strange whispers between Nia and his master. He'd followed them once, hiding among trees and vines. When Nia vanished into the forest, he began spinning stories, poison wrapped in curiosity. "She's bewitched him," Sephew whispered in the marketplace. "That woman lives near cursed trees, remember? Kojo's changing. He's hiding something too." The villagers listened. Suspicion, once sleeping, began to stir. Eyes narrowed. Doors closed faster. Kindness faded. Kojo noticed. The looks. The distance. And though he kept his calm, his heart ached for Nia, and feared what she might be facing. Because Shadowwood had many paths, but only one led to the truth. And time, once again, was running out, the test of mirrors and fire. Shadowwood grew darker as Nia neared the center, where even the trees bent away, unwilling to witness what lay ahead. The ground paused beneath her bare feet, alive with ancient power. Finally, she reached it, a cavern carved into the earth, wrapped in living vines that shifted and breathed as if guarding something sacred. Inside, the air shimmered. The walls were covered in mirrors, tall, twisted panels made not of glass, but of polished stone that reflected more than just her appearance. They glowed faintly, each one showing a different version of her. Then the spirit emerged, cloaked in shadow and light, neither man nor woman, its voice both thunderous and tender. "You have come far, Serpent child," it said. "But to be free, you must first know who you truly are." The spirit raised a hand, and the mirrors came alive. In one, Nia was a woman of gold and flame, worshipped like a goddess. In another, she slithered across cold stone, hissing, feared and alone. In one, she was a monster, fangs bared, eyes wild. In another, she wept in human form, chained and broken. There were 100 mirrors, each version of her whispering truths and lies. "Choose," the spirit said. "Find the mirror that holds the real you. Only then can the fire burn away what does not belong." The cavern darkened as Nia stepped forward. The images pulled at her heart, her fears, her hopes. She saw herself in love, in rage, in shame. She saw what the world feared. What she feared. But then, she paused before one mirror unlike the rest. It showed her standing with Kojo. One hand was human, the other scaled. Her eyes were bright, her face serene. Beside her, Kojo smiled, not afraid, not pitying, but present. In the reflection, their hands were linked. Man and serpent. Together. Tears welled in her eyes. I am both, she whispered. I am woman and serpent. I am not broken. The cavern trembled. The spirit's form grew brighter, its eyes narrowing with respect. You have chosen truth over vanity. Wholeness over denial. That is wisdom. The mirrors dissolved, and the vines peeled back, revealing a circle of fire surrounding a stone altar. But, the spirit added, you have not yet proven love. The fire flared, and the spirit stepped aside. The curse can only be broken by a kiss of love freely given, when you are in your truest form. If Kojo kisses you as a serpent, without fear, without doubt, the magic will break. If he cannot, you will remain as you are. Forever. The fire closed in, a ring of testing flame. Nia's heart pounded. Could he do it? Could anyone? She remembered his hand in hers, his voice promising he saw her. But promises made in daylight don't always survive the dark. Still, she nodded. I will do it. The spirit gave one final look. Then prepare. Love is your last trial, and your greatest fire. And as the cavern faded and the path home revealed itself again, Nia stepped forward, uncertain, but no longer afraid of who she was. Love stronger than scales. When Nia stepped out of Shadowwood, the world felt different. The trees no longer whispered warnings. The sun touched her skin like an old friend. She had faced mirrors and fire, accepted her truth, and returned not to hide, but to be seen. But Ember Valley had changed too. As she walked back into the village, doors slammed shut. Mothers pulled children close. Eyes narrowed in fear. Whispers turned into cruel stares. She's back, someone muttered. Snake demon, another hissed. Bewitched Kojo. He's not the same. Nia paused at the edge of the square. Her heart hurt, but she did not shrink. At the center of it all stood Sephiu, arms crossed, wearing the smug pride of a liar who'd been believed. She's dangerous, he cried to the crowd. She's cursed. I saw it with my own eyes. She brings darkness. Before she could speak, Kojo appeared. He stepped in front of her, face calm but voice fierce. Enough, Sephiu. You don't know her. You don't know what she's endured. She's a monster. Sephiu backed. No, Kojo said. She's the bravest soul I've ever known. And I'd rather stand beside her in truth than live among cowards who fear what they don't understand. The villagers stood silent as Kojo took Nia's hand and led her through the crowd. No one followed. They were no longer welcome in Ember Valley, but neither one looked back. That night, the storm returned, wild wind and flashing skies. Nia stood barefoot beneath the lightning, heart thudding, knowing the final test had come. I'm ready, she said softly. Kojo stood before her, trembling slightly. Me too. Her body shimmered, shifting. Her arms vanished, replaced by coiled gold. Her eyes flickered, her voice dissolved. And there, in the stormlight, stood a serpent, majestic, radiant, and terrifying. Kojo's breath caught. He stepped forward slowly. Fear hovered at the edge of his mind, but love pushed through it. He knelt, touched her shimmering scales, and pressed a kiss to her brow. The sky exploded. A thunderclap split the heavens. Light poured from the clouds, wrapping them both in gold. The earth shook, the air pulsed, and then, silence. Nia stood where the serpent had been, human again. But something had changed. Faint golden scales shimmered along her collarbone and wrist, delicate, beautiful, unhidden. Kojo reached for her, eyes wide not with fear, but wonder. The spirit appeared once more, its form now gentle, glowing like moonlight on water. Your love has changed the story, it said. You did not fight the curse. You embraced truth. And in doing so, you are free. Then it vanished, leaving only peace behind. Days passed. The villagers, uncertain at first, began to listen. They saw the kindness in Nia's eyes, the strength in her silence, the way Kojo never left her side. Slowly, Ember Valley thawed. Sefu, exposed and ashamed, left without a word. In time, Nia became the village's wisest healer, mixing herbs with ancient knowledge, using her scars as strength. Kojo, ever the storyteller, wandered from house to house, telling tales of love that didn't flinch from truth, of courage that kissed fangs without fear. Their cottage near the whispering trees became a symbol, not of danger, but of what love could endure and transform. And those who once whispered now listened. Moral: true love doesn't fear truth. It embraces it. And when love is deep and honest, no curse, ancient or new, can stand against it.